everybody. This is the Three Girls, One Deck. We have decided to do kind of a new thing where we are going to make recorded videos, but with all the three of us, where we are doing sort of a monthly favorites or catch up kind of concept video. And this is something that we talked about doing because we all realized that we all wished we did those videos more, but are too freaking lazy. So if we do it together, then it's more fun and it keeps us accountable. So hence, that's what you are about to witness is our pre-recorded monthly favorites slash catch up slash things that we enjoyed for the month. And these videos are going to rotate whose channel they're on. So whoever has the channel that's hosting the regular Three Girls, One Deck live that month will also be the channel hosting the monthly catch up, wrap up, favorites, blah, blah, blah. So we have some categories that we're going to go through, and each of us is just going to kind of go around and say what our favorite thing of the month was in that category. So we can go ahead and get started, I think, with some experiences and events and just sort of like large, maybe life happenings that we all had over the past month. So I don't do very much, but for me, kind of the nicest thing that I did during the month of April, because I live in Minnesota and it still has been for most of the month, it was still cold. We still got snow. But I did take a trip one day to the Como Park Conservatory, which is in St. Paul, which is just a beautiful, big conservatory, glass conservatory that was built in like over 100 years ago. And it has all kinds of different beautiful gardens, like a sunken garden and a spice garden and a palm garden and a fern garden. And it's just a beautiful place to go in the winter and walk around. And you can hear the sound of water flowing and you can smell earth and plants, and it was just really lovely. And there's some pictures on my Instagram, and I just really enjoyed that. So that was kind of like my favorite thing during the month of April.
I really got nothing to report because I basically spent the whole month, I feel like, recouping from the March trip to Europe. So it was coming back, excuse me, coming back from that. My whole system was so jacked up. My sleep, my bowels, like everything you could possibly imagine was so messed up that like I was just having a time. And so I feel like I spent the month just hanging out my house and trying to get back on, some type of sleep schedule, which hasn't happened yet. My circadian rhythms are still jacked and just everything. So that's been
so April, you successfully recovered from jet lag.
I have at least that.
Event of the okay.
Yeah, at least that.
I'm not going to edit out the part about your bowels. I'm leaving that right in there. I'm just saying.
What did I do? Oh, well, see, I don't really do much either. I think we're three very hermity people.
Yeah.
We like to spend a lot of time at home.
Exactly. I think this is what they're going to get.
Exciting stuff is all the Three Girls, One Deck stuff we do. Like we did the Three Girls, One Deck Buffy deck.
That's right. We did do that.
That was fun.
That was really fun.
That was good.
Yeah.
So I go to a regular, I think I've talked about it on my own channel before recently, but I go to like a regular moot, we call them, but it's like a pagan meetup in a library. And we do that on the third Saturday of every month. And sometimes we talk about stuff that I know loads about. This time we talked about plant magic and herb magic, which I know nothing about. And it was really, really fascinating to hear all the different ways that people use plants in magic and all that kind of stuff. Plants come to me to die. Like I have black thumbs. I'm terrible. I can't keep spider plants alive. I don't know what it is. They hate me. But I started like trying to experiment with different teas and stuff. And there were one of the women there, she does a lot of that and she makes her own tea concoctions and things. So it was really interesting to talk to people who know what they're talking about when I'm like bumbling along hoping I don't kill myself by drinking something I'm not supposed to.
All right, well, our next category is decks.
Yes. Okay, so I worked with a few decks, and I've been basically doing kind of like a weekly rotation. And I will say probably, funny enough, my favorites, well, I did work with the Everyday Witch for about a week. And surprisingly, this is like the first time where I was kind of like, at the end of the week, I'm like, I'm kind of over you, which I've never had that happen before.
Wow.
I've never had that happen before. So
Oh.
I don't know what that means. I'm trying not to read too much into it.
Mhm,
It could have just been, the month of my feeling
mhm,
not well in general. But
mhm.
then we talked about this on like Three Girls, the not the Buffy special,
Not the
but the
Buffy,
one
the one
before.
before. Yeah, when we
Yeah,
did the Oracle.
right. So this was I paired the Everyday Witch with this oracle, the Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle,
Mhm,
and I will say that this was like a surprise, like a lovely surprise. I
Mm.
did not think I would enjoy this deck as much as I have, and so
mhm,
this was quite nice. And then, really, in terms of tarot, the one that I actually ended up enjoying the most. So I used Everyday Witch. I used let me see here. I used the Tarot of the Cat People for a week, and that was
mhm.
lovely. But I will say, surprisingly, it was my RWS that that I really enjoyed the most in April.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, right.
The coloring on that deck's
Ooh.
really nice. Which one is that?
This is just it's I got it off of Etsy. It's like just this plastic pastel version that I found
Mm.
for very reasonably priced. And so Matt, I put it on my wish list, and Matt got it for me for Christmas because I like the Centennial, which I have since massacred, but like that, I never used it. I never used it, and I
Mhm,
just thought, well, maybe this traditional imagery just isn't for me. And it's very glossy because it's plastic. But then I saw this. I think it was on Micah's channel. She was showing. I think she was showing this one, and I was like, "That's really pretty. I love the coloration. Maybe it's
Mm.
like the colors that make a difference." And so, yeah.
It
So,
is really pretty
Yeah,
coloration.
it is.
yeah, I
The
think that's
coloring
what
of it
it
looks
is.
nice.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And like, the backs, I mean, I don't hate them. I mean, they're okay. I
Mhm,
like the colors. It's
mhm,
definitely non-traditional, but
mhm.
I don't know. I just really, yeah, I really ended up enjoying
Yeah,
this.
I love the colors. If it came in a matte, I would be happier.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's very
it's very
shiny.
Yes,
glossy.
it is
Yeah.
very shiny, but it almost so of course it doesn't photograph well or show up well in videos, but I think also the shininess is what helps to make the colors pop
Mhm,
even more.
mhm,
Like they're just very vibrant.
mhm.
So but yeah, if she had it in matte, I would totally be all about that. But this thing, and funny enough, like this card stock, like I can actually riffle shuffle this
Mhm.
given that
Mhm.
it's like plastic and fairly thick, but I can still manage.
Mhm.
So that was kind of a surprise.
Oh,
Oh,
Julie, using an RWS.
I
No.
know. What the fuck? And then, and then of course I've been working with the Hellenic Oracle, as
Mhm.
so FYI, my I'm gonna do a part two of my, what did I name the series? Getting my Greek on with the
Yeah.
Hellenic Oracle. And so and also lovely bag. Lovely bag
I've
from
got a couple of bags just like that, and they are fucking beautiful.
mhm, mhm.
Mm.
Thanks, lady.
Just saying, just saying. I don't know if you still have any left in your shop, Sarah, but yeah,
I have some, yes, I have some of those.
these are available. Snatch them up
Yes,
while you
people
can.
are buying them, but I still have some, so yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that is those are my favorites.
So I'm the same. I worked with a few decks this month. Not any Oracle. I'm still not working with any Oracle, which is something that I want to fix, but I just never ever reach for them. But I think my favorite that I worked with this month was the Gentle Tarot,
Oh,
which I've
Ah,
had it for ages, and it's one of those ones that I love it, but I also don't reach for it anywhere near as much
mhm.
as I thought that I would. So I thought I would dig it out and have a go with it. And it is like, it is exact. Oh, I'm big. Hello, me.
You never made Julie big. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, it's okay.
Oh,
Everyone's seen the RWS.
Okay, but yeah, and it really holds up to its name. It's really has a gentle healing loving, like hug vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed working with it. And the guidebook's really good as well.
Mm.
So I think this has been my favorite this month. I also worked with the notorious JBG this month, which is always a favorite. I didn't bring it with me, but
Thank you.
always a favorite.
Love it. Love it.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
I
been
don't.
curious
No, go
about
on.
that deck. I've been the Gentle Tarot. I've definitely been curious about it. It's a lot of animals.
There is a lot of animals. I don't think I even, well, because I made my animal deck video, I don't think I even thought about this one, but I think because there is also a lot of people.
There are a lot of people. There are a lot
So
of people.
it didn't fit my
I don't like animals.
animal decks, which was just a bit like, depends how fast and loose you want to play. But yeah, it's really,
It's a beautiful deck.
just really beautiful. It's very thick cardstock though.
Yeah.
I think they do a mini one now, don't
Yes,
they?
they have a
And
pocket one
I
now,
think
yeah.
actually that might have been better for me because it's quite big.
Yeah.
And it's also quite thick and it is hard to shuffle.
Yeah.
I do mainly have to overhand shuffle this one because I don't have the finger strength to riffle it.
I think you have to overhand shuffle the mini one as well.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it is the same.
I think that's what Lisa was saying, Lisa Pappas, because she does have the pocket, and I don't think she was able to.
Yeah,
it might have been somebody else, but somebody was not able to shuffle the.
yeah. Sometimes the cards being smaller makes it even harder. If the
I think it does. Sometimes it has to be just the right thickness.
I think that it's the smaller cards really ideally need to be closer to playing card
thickness,
card. Otherwise, it just becomes really hard.
Yes, yes.
It is nice. It is nice cardstock. I don't know the first thing about cardstock. I don't know what GSM it is. I don't know whether it's got any finishes or anything. I don't know. It just feels nice, and it's not too shiny.
Yeah,
that's how you do it in layman's terms. You see, it's nice, kind of thick, and it's not too shiny.
Looks nice. Yeah, I've heard only good things about that deck. So
it is a lovely deck. I would recommend it. I don't know how often I'd use it, or if it does have kind of like a more spring summery vibe.
I can see that.
I don't know if it's one that I would reach for as much when it was darker and colder.
So the deck that I spent the most time using this month was the Fifth Spirit.
You got
it
because Heather talked me into it, and I love it. I've had such a good time working with it. So I adore this deck. This deck, I like. There's something about the artwork. I mean, first of all, I do really love the fact that a lot of the pip cards, don't have any people in them, and they're just I just really like enjoy the depictions of a lot of the minors. But I also, this deck is just really, it's kind of like what I wish the This Might Hurt tarot had been, because just from an art style perspective, because like the only issue that I had with This Might Hurt tarot was that it was a little bit too cartoony for me. Like the people were a little bit too cartoony in a cute way, and this deck is like, it feels very similar to that deck in terms of the sort of overall ethos of it, but they don't look quite as like cute cartoony. So I just prefer the art style, and so this just kind of slotted right into a niche that I was really excited to have a deck fit into it. And so yeah, I've loved this. It's such a beautiful card. So I've really enjoyed working with this. I've had a great time with it. And I've actually, because I went through a couple of weeks in April where I was in kind of a slump and I wasn't really doing daily draws, but for the weeks of April where I was actually like fully engaged in like my daily tarot practice, I basically used this deck almost the entire time. So I
think when I got it, I did the same thing. I pretty much used it almost for the entire month. I think I used one deck and then I switched to that one in the second week and stuck with it for the rest of the month because it's just such a fun deck to. It's
just really lovely. Yeah, it's just a really lovely deck. So and it was just so readable. I know that the guidebook is supposed to be really good. I honestly like haven't really spent any time with it, because just right off the bat, I was really comfortable with this deck, and it just felt really natural, and I just, yeah, I really like this one a lot. So yeah, so the Fifth Spirit Tarot was a big one for me. And then I also have been using, and again, this is just because I went through a little bit of a slump, I guess. Like, I don't know. I had a few kind of like down periods this month where like I wasn't thrilled about a lot of stuff. But so I've been using a lot this oracle,
The heart aligned.
Heart Line Affirmations Oracle, and I love this deck
Do you?
so much. Yes, like the this is the first time I feel like that I've ever seen a true affirmations deck where the messages are genuinely what I need, you know?
Wow.
And one of the things that I really love about this deck, and it is that you can see how there's that holographic like heart on each of the cards. And the idea of that is that like it's like this tactile experience where
Right.
you draw the card and you like are able to sort of like place your finger on the shadow spot and kind of like download the message.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing how impactful it actually is to like have that little bit of a like sensory bodily experience with the card, you know, to kind of like drive home the message of it. Like, it doesn't seem like it would be that big of a deal, but it really feels like a big deal when you actually do it. Like, it's weird. I wasn't expecting that. So I really love this deck. I'm really happy I got this. It's been very supportive. So I really love it. So
Who's this one by? Is it by Kim Tran, this one?
yeah, Kim San. Yep.
Kim San, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like pull from it every day, or
Just when I felt like I needed
just when
to.
you felt like it? Yeah.
When I was like just feeling,
Blah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had, I had some like, I don't know, I went through some like some self-doubt moments and some sort of like feeling creatively not good about myself moments and things like that over the course of the month. And kind of going back into March a little bit too. And this deck really came through for me.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm so glad I got this one. It's really awesome actually. So yeah, I didn't realize how awesome it was going to actually be.
Wow. All right. You're selling me on this deck.
Yeah, me too.
Lovely. Oh, it's just, and all the messages, and like it's all color coded, because like the different cards, you have like there's purple and pink and blue, and they're each like different types of messages. So there's like self-love based messages and like relationship based messages and like like creativity or success based messages, like but they're all just like you can tell that Kim created this to be something to actually help her, like it genuinely is very heartfelt, and it genuinely like has the kind of messages that are truly helpful. So yeah, so I really love it.
Awesome.
Anyway, yeah,
I like the touch thing.
Yeah, I
well.
do too.
think and there's so much research that backs that up, and like the more senses that you use in these experiences, the deeper that you feel them, and all those kind of things. I think that's
exactly.
such a lovely little touch.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, it's ingenious. It really makes a difference to the experience. And it gives you just like a focal point and a meditative point to just to say this is, I'm focusing on this message and I'm taking this message in, and it's just really good. It's really good. This is just a really good, smart, like really well designed, beautiful deck. It's awesome. All right, so next category is books.
Yeah, books were. I feel like April was kind of just like not a garbage month, but like an ennui kind. Yeah, and because I DNF'd a few of the books that I tried to read. I'm just like, no, but I did start this one.
Oh, it's such a good book.
Okay, thank you for telling me that, because I like it. Okay, it's just not grabbing me. I don't know. And again, I don't know if I'm just in a mood, But like I was like, do I DNF this? And normally I love Neil Gaiman. That's like I don't know what it is. And like this book has won like every single literary award possible for, what is this, middle grade or young adult or whatever.
Mhm.
And so I and like Lisa Papez was also talking about this one. And
I
so
haven't actually read this one. I have to say, I haven't
oh
actually read it.
so yeah, I'll keep on.
Mhm.
Okay.
You don't have to. I'm not going to make you.
I mean,
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it till at least like halfway in. And if I'm not enthralled, then maybe I'll have to
Mhm.
come back at another time or something. But
I mean, keep in mind, like that book it's it's inspired in a way by the Jungle Book, and
Mhm,
so there is an episodic feeling kind of character to it, where it
mhm,
feels more like there is like an overarching storyline, but there's also sort of a series of like kind of more self-contained
yeah.
vignettes in a
Yes,
way.
yes, it does.
And in that way, like it is actually designed to be that way because that is what the Jungle Book is like. Um,
Mhm.
so it's,
And I've never read the Jungle Book, so
oh, yeah.
um,
No, I've only ever seen the Disney film. Both
I don't
Disney
even know
films,
that
but I
I've
would
seen.
only recommend one of them.
Mhm, yeah.
But yeah, so okay, well, I'll keep on then,
Mhm.
and I'll report back next month.
I use a e-reader, so I don't have the books with me, but I have been on a full Becky Chambers kick like for the last couple of months actually. And so the series that I've been reading is the Wayfarer series, and I just finished the third book in that series. So I've been really, really enjoying those. Her Monk and Robot uh, books are my favorite of hers. I really love those, and I've read both of the two that exist in that series so far. But I've also just been really enjoying the Wayfarer series, and
Mhm.
I think that like her science fiction writing is just really I don't know, it's really humane. It's not it's kind of comforting in a way because it kind of depicts a future world in which humanity is still dealing with a lot of shit, but we've also figured out some of the basics, and
Mhm, mhm.
um and it's just I don't know, they're good reads. So yeah, I really recommend Becky Chambers. And also she has another book too that's called To Be Taught If Fortunate, and I read that one too, and that was also really good. So
Mm.
that one's a standalone. So yeah,
I've
very
read the
recommend.
first Wayfarers. It's good. It's like, and
Mhm,
I like some pretty hard sci-fi, but
mhm.
I think Becky Chambers, I would call her cozy sci-fi. It's
Yes,
very, and it's
Ooh,
totally.
very accessible sci-fi.
Mhm.
ooh,
It's not like brainy sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's very people driven, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
Super people
like
driven.
found family and all that kind
Mhm,
of stuff. It's really lovely and cozy and
mhm,
nice. So I don't have a book either because I read I read a lot of books, but my favorite book was an ebook that I got from the library, and it was Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. The book's called.
oh.
It's very cool. So it's about a 60-year-old Chinese woman, a widow in San Francisco, who owns like a little Chinese tea shop in Chinatown. And she comes downstairs one morning, like her business is failing and her son isn't really contacting her anymore and
Mhm,
stuff. And she comes downstairs one day and she finds a dead man in the middle of her tea shop. And the police think it was all an accident, and like he died of natural causes or whatever and just happened to stumble into her shop, but she's convinced it's murder. And so
mhm,
she decides to go looking for the culprit herself. And
hmm,
it's a really lovely story. Like, even though it takes place in San Francisco, I would still call it a cozy mystery because there's
mhm,
like 5 point of view characters who are
mhm,
the only real characters that you spend much time with at all,
mhm, mhm,
and maybe 3 locations that
mhm,
you a shop, somebody's house, and then one other location. And the murder mystery, if you're really into heavy murder mystery and that's what you're looking for, you might not like this book as much.
mhm,
The murder mystery is kind of the thing that allows this group of people to come together and create this
mhm,
family, like found family type thing
mhm,
again. It's such a beautiful story. It's
mhm.
really, really lovely. I read it in a day, and like by the end, I was like, oh, I want to spend the day with these people. They're so lovely.
Oh,
I love
And
that. That's awesome.
awesome.
she's quite difficult in the beginning because she's a typical older Chinese lady who's very set in her ways, and her son is like not really dealing with her because she's constantly messaging him to tell him he should get out of bed at 4:30 and he should have eaten by now, and why hasn't he found a wife yet, and but as the story goes on and you just see the way that she interacts with different people and you get to see inside her mind a bit more, she becomes so lovable, like so lovable. It's such a good book. And she calls her name is Vera Wong, but her tea shop is Vera Wang's famous tea shop. She wants to capitalize on the name. It's so cute. I would highly recommend
That's
it.
hilarious.
That's delightful. Okay, that does sound like a really fun book.
Yeah, it is a really, really fun book.
I do enjoy a cozy mystery now and then. So
yeah, me too. It's not my I read a lot of mystery thrillers, and I don't read as many cozy as anything else. But when you get a really good one, and this was a really good one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Shall we move on to TV and movies?
So I watched a film on Netflix very early on in the month called Unlocked, which is about a Korean girl who gets drunk after work, and on the bus on the way home she loses her phone. And this guy finds her phone, and it turns out the guy who finds her phone is a stalker and a serial killer. It's not a fun film. It's
okay.
It's a scary film, and then he like orchestrates it so that when she goes to pick her phone up, he bugs it so that and clones it so he can control her phone and he can see her through his phone and stuff, and he destroys her life.
Oh my God.
And it all kind of leads to this big confrontation at the end. It was terrifying. It was like from the perspective of the world that we live in now. And he basically was able to find out everything about her just by having access to her phone, even to the point where, because obviously I'm sure you guys know, I don't know everybody who's going to watch this knows, but obviously in Korea, they don't have keys for their doors. They have pins to access the properties. So of course, because he has her phone, he has the pin for her home, so he can just let himself into her home. And it was like, I don't even use my phone to the level that especially young people in Korea do nowadays. And even I was like, I really need to check the security settings. It was unnerving. But it was really good. It was really, really, again, I'm a huge fan of like psychological thrillers and that kind of thing. And this definitely was. It was absolutely my cup of tea. But it was like, you do find yourself at some point in the film just getting your phone out and you're like, how well? Maybe I should change the passcode for my phone, because actually it's probably not that hard to break into if somebody
what am I storing? The 4-digit one instead of the 6-digit one. Oh, that might not be.
It was a very, like, just a moment of like, and just through her Instagram and her Facebook and stuff, he was able to figure out what her password was for her phone, and he was able to figure out who her friends were, and all these different, like, he figured out her birth date because of pictures that she posted, and it really opens your eyes to how much of ourselves we put out there online without even realizing it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think I didn't use my phone for the whole of the next day. I was like, I'm just going to put that out there.
And we're all deeply disturbed as we broadcast from the interior of YouTube.
Oh, no.
I know.
Yikes.
And talk about our lives.
Yeah, no. It was. I mean, I would recommend it. It was very, very good. Very good. If you like that sort of thing, like if you're easily unnerved, then maybe don't watch it alone at night. But it was very good. And then the series that I'm watching is called Awaken. And it's very, I mean, I do this a lot with Korean series. So I'm 6 episodes in and I spend an awful lot of my time going, I don't really understand what's going on. I don't really know what's happening. But you're not really supposed to. So it starts with like this village like 28 years ago, and all these people are like throwing themselves off buildings and killing each other, and all this weird stuff is happening and you don't know why and nothing's explained. And then it jumps to 28 years in the future. And these 3 police officers are investigating these cases where this reporter is getting notes saying that somebody's going to die in a certain place at a certain time. And then somebody does die in that place at that time, but it looks like they've taken their own lives. So they're investigating, like, is it actually murder if they've killed? And the 4, like, you see 4 people die in the first episode, and one of them, they're all privileged people in some way, and they've all committed crimes that they weren't punished for because of their privilege. So there's this whole, and then it all links back to this village massacre 28 years ago, but you don't really know how. And the main character, you're like, is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? And it's got some sci-fi elements in it. It's really good, but I have no fucking idea what's going on. And I've done so
I think I've heard about that one. Like, I feel like I remember when that one like first came out, and like I feel like I remember hearing about it. So, yeah.
It is good. It's very, very good. I mean, I have commitment issues. So if I stick with something past 4 or 5 episodes, it's normally because it's worth watching. Because I don't stick with things very well, but it's good. It is good. So those are the things I've been watching.
Well, I'm going to talk next because hilariously, one of the series I want to talk about is also a Korean series, but it is a Korean reality series, which is so wildly low stakes and like boring. Really, when you think about it, it's really boring, but completely delightful. And that, of course, is Ginny's Kitchen on Amazon Prime. A bunch of Korean celebrities go to Mexico and open a restaurant together, and the entire series is just them being like, oh no, we've run out of ingredients, oh no, we have so many orders, oh no. And like, that's the extent of the conflict. Like, it's so low stakes and it's so delightful.
I have that on my to watch, and it's like, I don't even know if I need to watch it because like clips keep popping up on my like Instagram feed or whatever. And so it's like, oh, today, Tay is like fanning a stray dog that's come in, and they're spending like 15 minutes like
exactly
like
happens on this show, and I am just avidly watching it. So and also the food on it looks amazing, so I can only watch it while I'm eating meals because I'm always when I'm watching it, because they're always making like Korean corn dogs and ramyeon and gimbap and like all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so so that I've been thoroughly enjoying, and it has like, obviously it has a BTS member via BTS, and it has Choi Woo-shik from Parasite, and it has Park Seo-joon, who's going to be in a Marvel movie coming up pretty soon.
Okay.
They're quite famous people in this show, like they're very big celebrities, Korean celebrities, running a snack bar in Mexico. And V of BTS is leading his own like one man like employment rights protest, and like it's just really delightful. So anyway, so that, and then I also spent a lot of time just finishing my Buffy rewatch so that we could film our Buffy special. But I won't talk about that too much because we already talked about it.
Exactly.
So,
if you want to watch it, then that is on Heather's channel.
My
right?
channel, yeah.
And I'll put it up in the cards.
So I finished on PBS Masterpiece. There's this show called Sanditon, and it's based off of Jane Austen's unfinished novel, Sanditon. And it's what any Jane Austen novel you would, it basically has the same type of premise of like, oh, strong-willed, young lady and love, and can't seem to get their shit together, and like and so that happened. So it's essentially a lot of that, walking in fields, talking in fields. And it was lovely. It was lovely. Like it.
Wearing pretty dresses, talking in fields. Isn't that what your husband calls them? Is like wearing pretty dresses, talking in fields movies? Yeah.
Yes, essentially. It's talking in fields movies.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much a lot of what it was. I mean, it's about this young woman who basically is in this it's in this town that they're trying to build up, this one family is trying to build up as a resort town. And to get people there and to kind of build up that town. And so, and she, of course, she's um, trying to find herself, and et cetera, et cetera. And so, yeah, that wrapped up pretty predictably, but again, it was like one of those things where it's like, it's mindless, it's light and fluffy, and, everything's going to be just fine because this is the final season. So it's like they can't possibly draw out, you
Mhm.
know, the romance and the misunderstandings and just the stupidity of like why they can't get their shit together and
Mhm.
just get married. Yeah, so it was fun. It was nice. And then I would say I watched the other thing that I loved is on BTS, one of BTS members, Yoongi, he released his album D-Day, and on Disney Plus he had a documentary where cameras follow him as he's trying to write the music for D-Day, trying to produce this album, and just the different celebrities that he kind of meets up with, and just like, yeah, the struggles of trying to get through like all the pressure and the
Mhm.
distractions and stuff. So that was just like, yeah, that was really, I loved that. That was
I
really fun
loved
to
his
watch.
documentary
Yeah,
too.
it was really
I
good.
haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah, both
Um,
both his and J-Hope's documentaries have been really good.
yes,
So,
I did like Yoongi's better. I don't know why I find
you
his.
know, I liked him. I honestly liked them both. They were really different,
Yeah, they were
like
different, and
they
I
were
did
really
like them both,
different.
but
Mhm.
I'm probably, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think because Yoongi's probably my bias records that I just
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
lean more towards.
His was more about, like, getting through creative blocks,
Yes,
and J-Hope's was more about, like, working his ass off to
off to,
prepare
yeah,
for something
exactly.
that is a huge, huge deal,
Yes,
and so they were just different in sort of, like, tone.
yes, different. And
Mhm.
I think what I liked about Yoongi's is that he kind of spliced it up with live performances of
Mhm,
the
mhm,
songs
mhm,
from his album, which is
mhm.
fucking amazing. It's a great
Yeah,
album.
Yeah, it's a really good album.
Oh
It is
my
a really
god,
good
so good.
album.
So anyway,
so good.
yeah.
And 3-minute nonstop.
Yep. Oh, and I also finished season 3 of Mandalorian too.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I did finish that too, yeah.
Cute, very
And I
cute.
actually didn't finish that until, like, yesterday or the day before,
Oh,
so I
really? Oh,
didn't
okay.
count it. Yeah, I was all behind because of Buffy, and then I
Oh
got
no,
all
totally.
involved in Korean snack bars and, like, it
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
like
yes.
Oh, I also watched, what was it called? Oh my god, Michelle Yeoh's just won a flipping Oscar for it. What is it called?
Oh, Everything
Oh,
Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I also watched that in April too. It's a good film. It's weird as fuck, but
It's
it's a
weird.
very good film.
Yes,
I
it
cried
is.
at the
I
end. I
still
didn't
need
Yes,
to watch
as
that.
did
Yeah.
I.
Mhm.
I cried a few times. It's
Yeah,
very good.
but it's a very beautiful film.
It's very beautiful. It is odd. Yeah. So,
Yeah, very good.
Final topic is other hobbies.
well,
I got nothing.
I just made some stuff. Um, I mean, I guess like it is, I guess, tarot adjacent, but and I talked about this in a video where I did. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to like make stuff. Sometimes I get in, when I'm
Mhm,
feeling in a rut or
mhm.
ennui, I just or also trying to avoid other things that I had in mind to do. I'll just do something else, and I think this was a culmination of all that. So yeah, I did make these. People are calling them tarot pogs, which I totally understand.
Okay, I
Um,
freaking love that. That delights
It's
me.
so
Tarot
cool.
pug.
oh my
Tarot
god, right?
I'm so happy. Who came up with that? They're
I
genius.
think it was, oh gosh, I think the first person to say that was like Thea, and
That's so fantastic.
then Mixed Persuade said the same thing. Levi said the same thing, and I'm just like, okay, I shall dub these now tarot
Tarot
pogs.
pugs.
But
I
yeah,
love
so
that.
I just did a DIY, like a dirty DIY of um, you know, more affordable tiles, pogs, whatever you want to call them. Something that you can just make without having to have like a wood cutter or anything too elaborate. You can just
Mhm,
make it yourself if you
mhm.
want a set. So you can find the tutorial on my channel. But that was fun. Yeah,
It
that
is.
was just
It
fun to
really
like
is.
experiment. just yeah. And then I made a deck for myself. Speaking of, I don't like animal decks. Animal decks. I made an animal deck.
What?
I did just for myself, just for myself. I mean, literally, it's this itty bitty thing, and
I'm gonna make you big.
oh sure,
Because that is an itty bitty thing.
it's an itty. I wanted an itty bitty deck,
Oh, it's so cute.
isn't it?
Is it
Um,
purple?
this is like 2 by 2, and I just wanted to make a deck of animals that meant something to me,
Mhm.
because I think there's no such thing as a perfect deck, but in terms of animal decks, like this one is specifically tailored to me.
Mhm.
Animals that I have seen myself,
Mhm.
animals that I maybe want to see someday in the
Mhm.
wild, animals that I am trying to heal my relationship with,
Mhm.
just animals that I want to learn more about. So I just decided to.
Ferret. I love
Is it
ferret.
is it like an oracle deck, Julie, or is it a tarot deck? Or
It's just I wouldn't even call it. It's
an oracle?
92 cards, so
Okay.
I guess it's more like an oracle, yeah. And so I've just been kind of I've the idea is that I'm gonna pull a card every month and just kind of
Mhm.
yeah, ruminate on it.
Mhm.
And let's see, what is my card? I don't even think I have it. It's my card of the month is dolphin, which is great because this used to be one of my favorite animals
Mhm.
as a kid. And so yeah, so it's about learning more about that animal, again, healing maybe my relationship with a certain animal by learning more about it.
Mhm.
It is very heavily bird based, and there are more insects in there than I had anticipated. But yeah, so it was just kind of a fun, just like a fun exercise in like, oh, what animals come to mind for me? Like
Mhm.
if I could create a deck of my own that was like a animal deck, what would that be? And so yeah.
Did you print it on Make Playing Cards? Awesome.
Yep.
You're
So
so creative.
oh, thanks.
That's so cool. I love
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. So that's really it for me. Did some coloring. Um, I didn't color any cat butts this month, but like I did color. Let me see. I like to just like color a little bit. I don't like doing full on pages because that's just a little too time consuming for me, and I'm just not about that. But like I will color, like a smaller page and then cut it out and then just like put it in my journal. So this was
Mhm.
Mhm.
what I did. And I'm not one to like do a bunch of shading. I'm just that's not
Mhm.
maybe one day I'll learn
Mhm.
to be that skilled, but I feel like that would put too much pressure on me, and then not make it fun. So I just color
Mhm.
like a kid. And
Yeah, I color like a kid
I
too.
love it.
I
Yeah.
try and stay between inside the
Yeah,
lines,
I
but
try to stay
I'm
inside
bothered
the
if I go
line.
out of them. Like it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, yeah. It's just fun. It's just like
Mhm.
yeah. So that's basically it
Yeah,
for me.
cool.
Perfect. Well,
I
I
don't
have.
really have anything hobbies wise because my hobbies are very cerebral. Like I
Mhm.
language learn for a hobby, and you can't. There's nothing to
Mhm.
really show or
Have you
show.
have you learned any new favorite phrases?
No, I don't think so. No,
You're
there
still
are
trying
phrases that I
Korean and
like.
Japanese, right?
Huh?
You're still working mostly Korean, but also some Japanese?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So Japanese is like very like easygoing, chilled out. Like I'm learning some
Mhm.
vocab and occasionally a little bit of grammar here and there. I'm much more like doing a lot more Korean. I have lessons in Korean and
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but no, I mean, I can't think of anything that I've learned that's like fun to share.
But have you still been keeping up with your one Korean sentence a day?
Yes, yeah. So I write one Korean sentence a day in
What
my
did you
diary.
write today?
I haven't written anything yet because the day's not
What did you write yesterday?
God, I didn't even write a whole sentence. I don't even know what my book is.
Never mind.
I think I wrote something about my work computer being broken.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes.
Mhm.
No, yeah.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I have to keep a diary now. Like I as part of my homework for my lessons, I keep a diary. So I have to write like six or seven sentences about things that I did
Oh, wow.
between each lesson and stuff. So I
wow.
do that as well.
That's awesome.
Cool. And I'm reading Harry Potter in Korean slowly.
Oh my God.
Exceptionally slowly.
That would take me a decade.
That's amazing.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's very slow. I'm still on chapter 1, and I've been on chapter 1 for like 3 months. So sounds a lot more impressive than it is.
Okay.
It's
So
just
it's fully just the Korean version of Harry
That's the
Potter.
Korean version then. Oh my God.
Cool.
you probably can't even see that because of the
No, I
coloring.
can't.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
that's
make it big.
so many words. Yeah.
Oops. There we go.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I can see. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is literally just it's the first half of the first book
Mm-hmm.
just translated into Korean, but it is really slow because I am like highlighting words I didn't
Okay.
looking them up and stuff rather than just
Trying to read.
reading it through it. So it is
And
quite
is that something you chose to do, or that your tutor is making you?
No, that's something I chose to do
Right. Wow.
because I'm insane apparently.
A little bit.
So, yeah, so that's what I've been doing.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I think language learning is such a cool hobby.
It
Like,
is.
that's really
It
cool.
is.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's fun. It is fun.
So I'm going to show a board game because my family played this board game nonstop over Christmas, and then I just bought myself a copy of it because I want to have like a board game night with some friends to play this board game. But so this board game is called Mysterium. Have either of you guys heard of it?
No.
Okay. This game is so cool. So it's a murder mystery game based on intuitive communication. So basically, the way it works is one of the players is the ghost, and they are the only one who knows. It's like Clue. You have to figure out who was the murderer, where it was committed, and what the murder weapon was. But the player who's the ghost is the only one who knows, the answers to those three questions. And they can only communicate with the other players in the form of visions. Like the other players are supposed to be like mediums at a seance, right? And so the game has like a gazillion different what they call vision cards, which are just these different cards that have different surreal, weird images on them. And so what the ghost has to do is try to clue the mediums in to the identity of the culprit and the location of the murder and the murder weapon by handing out these weird vision cards. And so it's purely like intuitive communication. Like so the ghost cannot otherwise talk to anybody else who's playing the game. And so to me, this is like the perfect game for tarot people because it's all about interpreting images, right?
Yeah.
Like interpreting
Mhm.
weird images and deriving meaning from them. And it's, there's more game mechanics than just what I've described, but that's the fundamental gist of the game is that you have this ghost trying to communicate with people via the use of just weird images, and trying to give clues that way. And it's super super fun. And so yeah, so this my family played this over Christmas a ton and really really enjoyed it. And so I just bought myself my own copy because I wanted a copy at my house. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about, was just this really
Oh,
cool
Oh,
cool.
that's
super
awesome.
cool board game. So
Oh,
It sounds really cool.
it's
I miss board games because I live on my own and I don't like
Mhm,
have people around a lot and stuff.
mhm,
Haven't played board games for ages, but I'm definitely a board game person.
mhm,
I too would. Funny enough, I didn't grow up on board games, but I
mhm,
would. I'm not opposed to playing them. I would like to play them,
mhm,
except Matt
mhm.
hates board games. And well,
Oh,
and come to find, there's a childhood trauma that's the cause of that. But anyway, so I give him a little leeway there because I'm like,
I,
oh,
I'm like, what kind of childhood like?
well, I guess it's not. I maybe that's a little bit.
I,
That's
extreme.
I'm like, was he attacked by the
but like,
iron from
but like,
Monopoly? Or like,
it was a memory that was painful, a
okay,
painful memory.
Aw.
So, anyway, so okay, fine. And yeah, since then, I don't really socialize a lot.
Mhm.
then that makes playing board games a little bit difficult.
Yeah, we have just towards the end of last year, they had a cafe opened in the city centre, and it is called the Dice Box, and that is literally what it is. It's like all of the walls are bookcases full of games, and you rent a table for a certain period of time, and you go in and you pick a game, and you can have food and drinks, and I'm desperately trying to find some people to go with me. But I'm such a nerd, and my friends are not as nerdy. I'm like, please just come with me.
Yeah. I love games. I mean, I'm really lucky in that my family really loves games, and that's something that we always do when we're together, is just play a ton of games. And especially over Christmas, because there's always at least 7 people in the house. It's like my brother-in-law, my sister, their 2 kids, my parents, and me are all always together at Christmas. And so, with 7 people, you can generally get a good game going of something. So that's, and now that the kids are old enough to really play adult games, it's been really fun. But and a lot of my friends too, like people that I know, are also into board games. And so
awesome.
I talked to a couple of friends recently about this particular game, and I really want to get together and have a game night and play it, because it is really fun. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have, I have friends that actually live like minutes away, and they've come over a couple times and we've done games, mainly because, and I don't have very many or any board games, but like, like a card game. I have like a card game, and, but the thing is, it's because, with their one child, Emma, she's like 9. So our games are basically limited to what she can play, easily play. So, not really so much board games, but like easier, like card games and things like that. So,
she could play Mysterium, honestly. Like, I mean, as long as they're okay with the whole concept of her playing what is functionally a murder mystery game, but the gameplay itself is just like, you have a bunch of cards laid out with images of different people who could be the murderer, and like one of them's a baker, and one of them's a seamstress, and one of them's a military officer, and and then somebody's handing out these cards with these weird pictures on them, and you're like, okay, what is this person trying to tell me with this weird pic? Who are they pointing to with this weird picture? And it's just, so it is definitely something a kid could play.
Awesome. How long does it take to wrap? Like, how long does a game take?
So it really depends on how you play, because you can play it so that it's timed, like each turn is timed. Because the other thing about it too is that it's a collective game. Either everyone wins or everyone loses. It's either you all figure out the identity of the murderer, and then
so it's like a collaborative.
It's fully collaborative. So everybody's talking to each other and like looking at each other's visions and trying to, and then there's like a mechanism where you vote on, whether you think this person picked the right murderer or not, or whatever, so it's a fully collaborative game, which is another thing that makes it really fun, and it makes it fun for kids because they're not competing against
adults, I like that.
But you can play it so that it's timed, so that there's only a certain set amount of time for all of the mediums to discuss their visions. But we didn't bother to do that. We just let people discuss for as long as they wanted, because this is the fun part, so that's how we played it.
Oh, okay. I might have to look into that game then.
It's really fun. It's really fun. So, and it's one of those games where it seems more complicated than it actually is. Like when you first read the manual, you're like, oh my God, there's like so many different like gameplay things here. But if you just like watch a YouTube video on how to play it, and it's not as hard as it seems. So.
Okay, cool. Nice. All right.
So anyway, that was our update, our group catch up for the month of April. So we're planning on doing this every month, because it's really fun to just chit chat about what we've been up to, and it's something that we would be doing anyway. So like,
we might as well film it.
Might as well film it.
This makes it so much easier. Like have accountability buddies.
We actually have a set time that we all have to show up and be prepared.
So perhaps this will further motivate me to like get off my ass and do shit, so that I have stuff to talk about.
Stuff to talk about. Yeah.
Like, okay, I can't look like a complete loser. I need to leave the house at some point this month and plan something.
So anyway, so look out for us to do something similar next month where we'll be catching up on what we did in the month of May. And that will be on Julie's channel, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay. So anyway, thanks so much, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.